We are now recording. Hello, I am Kathy Benner, and this is the Happy House Hunters. We are now meeting on Zoom for a couple of months here. We'd like to get back to Gresso's. We miss seeing everyone, but for now, we are going to be meeting on Zoom. Tonight, we are talking to Mitch Deminski. Mitch received his BSBA from Ohio State University in 1988, majoring in marketing. Gosh, how did you get into real estate from marketing? He's been involved with real estate investing since 1998, and he is the owner-broker of Solutions for Real Estate since the inception back in 2001. Building the brokerage from scratch by reinventing the real estate brokerage model has made Solutions for Real Estate the premier non-franchise brokerage in Central Ohio. Congrats on that. And with the real estate market changing every day, Mitch has guided Solutions into this new market since June of 2008 to make the company more profitable than ever. This has allowed Solutions for Real Estate to invest in technology, which helps our agents make their businesses more successful. And he brings a broad understanding of business experience to the real estate and can help you achieve all of your real estate goals. So buyers and sellers, if you're looking to buy or sell your home, Mitch can help you through the entire process. Investors and people who want to rent their home, no one does it better. And agents, if you're looking for brokerage who gives you freedom, let Solutions for Real Estate be your business partner. So Mitch, with that, go ahead and tell us a little bit about your background and how you even got into this from a marketing degree to real estate.
Oh my gosh, where do I start with that one? Thank you for having me. Appreciate the opportunity. I'm going to go real fast for the first 10 years after Ohio State. Graduated, I got into the phone business. I actually bought into a phone business, inmate payphones of all things. We found out within like 4 years that we should probably sell that company. So what am I going to do next? And this is before the internet. I was watching late night television, and all these real estate gurus are on there, and I said, there's something to this. So I would, my wife and I would go to Barnes and Noble, drink a latte, and I would read books as much as I could. So there wasn't a bigger pockets back then. And we moved to Kansas City when our company got bought. We moved back to Ohio, and we got started real quick. Within 4 months of moving here, we built a house. I bought a 24 unit, I bought a 15 unit, and our son Matt was born. So
oh my,
off and rolling.
Oh my! Now, when you bought those, the 24 unit and the 15 unit, did you know then that that's what you wanted to do, is to buy and hold and be in property management? I mean, what prompted you to start off so big? I started off with like one building.
I studied for 4 years. I felt comfortable moving forward with it once I found someone I can actually talk to versus, boot camps that were being sold back then. Being an Ohio State graduate, I felt like I should be on campus. Probably within 90 days, I found out I should not be on campus because it's babysitting. So Jameson's laughing. So, because he knows, he must know. But I got in and out of those units probably within 3 years, and just I knew it was a buy and hold play for me. If I learned anything, it's get rich slow, and what we do. And if you're in it for the long haul, I'm here to tell you, it's pretty amazing once you get over the hump.
Yeah, it's getting over the hump. That's the problem. Yeah. So what was your thinking about real estate investing? I mean, coming from marketing, I'm sure there was a lot of opportunities with the marketing degree.
Yeah, I mean, marketing degree was pretty general back then. It's a lot more specialized now with social media. I grew up in a family with a few entrepreneurs. Once you get a taste of being an entrepreneur, you kind of want to stay there. Real estate, for me, I had, when we sold our company, I went to work for somebody else, and that was pretty tough to do. And real estate allows you to start buying things while you have your day job, which I highly recommend. But you can get started on a single family home, that's all I own now. And you can get started and slowly grow that thing while you got your day job. You keep your day job to allow yourself more money to buy the next one. It's easier to get financing, and it doesn't take a lot to manage a property. It's when you get, up to 15 where it gets, okay, now we got to put systems in place. So.
And you know what? If you start with those systems up front, it makes it a lot easier. That's what we hope to do in the Happy House Hunters group. Is we hope to actually introduce those systems to folks kind of early, so they don't feel overwhelmed. So that's a big deal.
The systems that you're talking about, imagine it with 540 units that we manage. So
I can't even imagine. Wow.
Well, I'm going to show you now that you asked.
Yes, please do.
This is our policy and procedure manual.
Okay.
And it's got everything in there from how to answer the phone to how to tow a car.
I'm not anywhere as close to what you are now. Don't laugh. I'm not anywhere as close, but I have to show you this. This one page. Are you ready? This one page. That's my policy and procedure manual right there.
Gotta start somewhere.
But we don't have near the units, so yeah, trust me.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's great. So some of our newbies, what is the first investment they should look for? I mean, obviously, I wouldn't recommend a 25 unit or 15 unit even, but now that you've got some mileage under your belt and doing this, what would you recommend for a newbie just getting started?
I think, a lot of people, I get people from California that call us to manage their properties, and they'll call us like, hey, I'm closing tomorrow. I need a property manager. And I think what happens is, and I'm sure you guys run into this as being an agent, they got the numbers in front of them. Everybody remembers when they first get started, they have their own spreadsheet that they're going to work on, or they have a spreadsheet that they get from somebody else, and they pull up the deal and it looks like, I should make $200 a month on this single family home. One of the mistakes is they're buying in the wrong area. Even though the numbers look great right now, they don't realize in these D areas or these C- areas on the fringe, on the more work that's involved on buying those properties. South Linden, Hilltop, those are tough properties. They look great on paper, but over the long term, they're a headache. Older properties, those are, there's properties that are older. The war zones is what we were just talking about. But the way I would hit the middle of the road in Columbus, Ohio, that $800 to $1,200 3-bedroom, 1-bath, basement, garage, the numbers might be tighter on the profit side, but in the long term, that's where you want to be. Because the lower end stuff, what I find out is there's more of a headache, you have more turns, and as an investor, that's where you lose money. Because again, you have your spreadsheet, you start out year one, I got a tenant in it. If you're turning that thing every 8 months or a year and a half, our average stay is over 3 years. And it might even be longer than that for my portfolio. That's where you can wipe out 2 years of profit in no time. And if you ask any investor here that's been in the business for 5 years and go back and look at that first spreadsheet that they did, those numbers do not match what's going on today.
Okay, good to know. Now, you mentioned a C property or a D property. Describe what that is.
To me, they are the properties that are in war zones, what I call. You can drive down the street and just get a feeling, and I have people that call, our tenants call, and they ask us is it safe over there? I don't know, I don't live there, but go there on a Friday afternoon and see what's going on. And if you're okay and you feel safe going down the street, then that might be okay for you. We have to watch, because if I'm managed for somebody else, I got to make sure that I have agents that are willing to go over there and feel safe over there.
Mhm.
And then I also have contractors. I think every one of my contractors have had equipment stolen. We had a guy 2 months ago, his truck got stolen. And if they don't feel safe there, then I can't even service the property. So that's a D area for us. It's just a lot of crime. There's we call them zombies walking around. There's just a lot of activity out on the street, and you can go down the street and you can just feel it. It might, maybe your first week you can't feel it, but after a while you can feel it.
So even though it looks good on paper, it might not be the best deal.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. And I tell people when they call me, they can get it in contract with somebody, but I want to be there in the inspection and give me the address, because I got an owner right now we manage for. She's a licensed agent. I'm going to drive by 4 of her properties to see if we even want to take them on. They're on the ones on Lily, and parts of Lily are not safe. But you go further south, and there's a feeling. So
Okay. And this comes with experience, I'm sure. So that's
yeah,
why some of the newbies, they really need some good solid advice when they're getting ready to buy their first property, because we want them to be successful.
sure.
We want it to be a good situation for everyone.
Yeah, we're not one and done. As real estate agents, it's our responsibility to, this is what you're looking out for, and how's this street feel? I mean, we used to joke. I have one of the owners. There's no curbs on this street. There's parts of North Linden. There's people parking. How does that feel? And you're like, you're right. I can feel it. There's no curbs. But us as real estate agents, we don't want them to just buy one and have a terrible experience. No one wants that. This is a long-term. We're building a portfolio. The goal is really in real estate is to replace your income one day, right?
Absolutely.
The freedom number.
Well, how should I finance this first property?
I personally,
I know everyone's situation is so different.
yeah,
So
everybody's
it's
different. Yeah, I'm an old school, put 20% down or have 20% in it. I think the ideal way I was able to do it back in the day, we had a Charles Schwab account. So if you have a brokerage account, and I'm just going to throw some numbers out, they have the ability to, let's say you have $100,000 in there, you have the ability to write up to 65% of that portfolio balance. So what they call in today's world the BRRRR method, we'd go out and pay cash, fix up the property, and then call the lender. Back in the day, there was no seasoning, but we were able to pull all of our money out and go on to the next one. That's probably the best way if you can do that, where you either get a line of credit or have the ability to buy the property, fix it up, and then turn around and pull most of that money out. That's the best way to do it, because you need cash to get onto your next deal.
yes, absolutely.
Portfolio
Absolutely.
lender.
Now, so if you're flipping, with the BRRRR method, where you're gonna, buy them and then flip them, pull the money out, and move on to the next one. Or when you pulled the money out to move on to the next one, then did you keep a note and just hold that property, or did you sell it?
I didn't start flipping until 3 years ago. I never felt
Okay.
comfortable flipping. I was buy and hold, true, until someone convinced me that, hey, maybe you should get into that business, because agents couldn't find off deal property. So
Okay.
I got into, I'm a Home Investors franchisee now,
Okay.
one of the 3rd year. So, so I was more of a buy and hold and pull as much money as I could out to go on and do the next one. So I'd get a loan from a portfolio lender.
Okay. Now explain that to some of our newbies. What's a portfolio lender?
So a portfolio lender is someone that actually holds the loan versus someone that might do a loan and turn around and sell it to the government, whether it's Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac or whatever. So usually in a portfolio lender, they're more of a community type bank, or sometimes a credit union will has favorable terms. but usually you can get a lot more done, and they're a little bit more flexible, and they're investor friendly.
Yeah, I'm kind of old school myself, Mitch. I started off with, just getting a mortgage and putting the 20% down and buying the building, and 2 or 3 years in, I just pulled the equity out
Right.
and used that to purchase another one, and that's how I built my portfolio. And I use a hometown bank for that same reason. So yeah, I get that. So I've not used any hard money or private money. I've been tempted to roll my IRA over to a self-directed and invest that, because I found that my IRA is not doing so well these days.
Right. Yeah.
So I am tempted to use that, but I haven't yet. But for some newbies that are getting started, how long could they expect some kind of a return? If the
12 years.
numbers are right, can they get a return? I'm sorry.
12 years.
12 years. Okay. Could they get a return though on some rental income right
Here's
away?
the deal. Yeah, here's the deal. I apologize for interrupting you.
No, no, you're good.
I knew that answer off the top of my head though, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
So quick story. I had, back in the day, I was trying to learn from the old guys that were doing the work and doing real estate investing, and I wanted to learn from them, and that's what we're kind of giving back now. And I sat down with them. I'm like, tell me what I need to know. I want to know the good stuff. I don't want to read a book and watch a Zoom call or whatever. I want to know the real stuff, right? And he said, you don't make money for 10 years. And I questioned him. I'm like, you don't understand. I studied a lot. I'm smarter than the average bear. I might be cocky. I don't know. What do you want to call it? But I felt like, yeah, I'll show you.
Stephanie's laughing, by the way.
Right. So, and here's what happened. 98, I started. 10 years later is 2008.
Oh, no.
Something happened in 2008. Right? So, in 2010, this is where I started thinking about how much is enough. How much is enough? Because in 2008, 9, 10, and Stephanie was I think you might have even been with us at that time.
I was.
You were. So we were scratching and clawing, just trying to put bread on the table. When I got started, it was really easy to get a loan. I mean, if you're breathing, real estate investing, it was easy to get a loan. So when I first got started, I'm like, I'm going to go get $10 million in property. There's no reason for that number. It was just I knew $1 million wasn't enough. So 10 million, it was just an arbitrary number that was off the top of my head. 2008 happens, and 2010 comes along, and it's like, I'm beating my head against the wall. So here comes the internet. So I Google setting your real estate goals. And the article started, it said, if you need $10 million in real estate, you have an ego problem.
And that was your arbitrary number.
Apparently I have an ego problem. So, but the article goes down, it breaks down what you were really trying to do here. So this is how I came up with it and figured it out. What they did was I don't know how many people know the 4% rule. Kathy, do you understand the 4% rule when it comes
I do, but go ahead and explain it for the group.
So if you can Google this, just look at the Google 4% rule. And basically it outlines, it says, whatever you need to live on, times that by 25, okay? Which works out to 4%. So if you have $1 million, they're saying that you can pull $40,000 off of that amount and you'll never run out of money, okay? Well, 40% of $1 million is only 40,000. I don't want to say only 40,000, but it's difficult to live on 40,000 these days. So maybe it's $2 million, okay? So what I found out was, how else maybe I don't have to save up maybe I don't have to save up $2 million if I can replace my income with real estate investing. Okay. So I'm getting to it, by the way.
So instead of having the cash, you're going to have something that's going to cash flow every month.
That's correct. So thank you. So what I found out was, and what this article covers is, how much do you need to live on? So let's call it $10,000 a month. You go out and buy 20 houses at $1,000 a month. Year in, year out, month to month, you'll average $10,000 a month of income for the rest of your life. Okay, so the other 10,000 that comes in pays for taxes, insurance, empties, vacants,
Maintenance.
CapEx, all that stuff. Okay, and it kind of rung to me. It's like, how much is enough? How much we need to live on? So let's call it $10,000. Go out, I would tell any newbie, go out and buy 20 properties or $20,000 of scheduled rents. Wait 20 years for it to be paid off, and you'll make $10,000 a month for the rest of your life. If you're okay with that and waiting 20 years, awesome. So what my wife and I have done, we determined our number, and when we got to our number, we flipped it and we said, let's start paying stuff off faster. I have not taken $1 out of my real estate holdings. I've either turned it into buying another property or improving what I have, because that's a 401k for me. That's another third leg to my retirement besides Social Security, whatever's left by the time I get there.
If any.
My 401k, which I just recently started, okay, and now real estate income, okay. So if that's a third leg that I can add on, I can live on that amount, not including my 401k or whatever. Mm-hmm. So you actually don't have to have as much in your 401k, which is now 201k after what's been happening.
It'll eventually just be a K.
Right, exactly. So, and oh, by the way, it's going to be worth more when you have rental increases and all that stuff. But if you can replace that income on the other side of it, you're on your way.
Hey, I get that. When I started, I actually I bought my first building. Well, I bought my house that I lived in. That was the first thing I bought. And then I bought a commercial building because I was in the salon industry. And I actually operated what was called a booth rent salon, where the girls paid rent for their station. And I realized rather quickly that I started out renting a commercial space. And I realized rather quickly that if I bought my own commercial building, my staff would actually buy me a piece of real estate in 20 years. So that's what I did, is I actually got a commercial loan, bought a commercial building, turned it into a salon, moved all my stylists over there, and the next 20 years they bought me a building. But 2 or 3 years into it, I realized how well it was working because I started to gain a little equity in that first purchase. So I pulled the equity out and bought a second salon, filled it with gals. Then a couple of years after that, I pulled that equity out, bought a third, and then a fourth, and then a fifth. So I ended up retiring with 5 commercial buildings paid for.
Awesome.
And so, yeah, but I was old school. I did it with lines of credit and 20% down and traditional mortgages. So that
awesome.
worked for me. That worked for me. And then I actually was able to retire early when I thought, when I started in the business, I wasn't going to get to retire at all.
Right. And so you didn't have to save as much for your 401k.
I'm sorry?
You didn't have to save that much for your 401k either.
Oh, no, I didn't, because now I still have all 5 of those buildings. They're now all paid for, and now they're generating cash flow.
Awesome.
And yeah, I just thought I'd throw something in there, but the 4% rule was considered bulletproof until 2008. It's actually been downgraded. The new 4% rule is somewhere between like 3.15 and 3.5. And I can't help but wonder, I haven't really thought about it in a while, but after 2020, I wonder if that new number will still stand. I think the S&P's returned 6 or 7% over the last 20 years. Now that's, it would be much higher going back 2 months ago and going 2 months into the future. But I don't think anyone on this call needs convincing that real estate's a good investment, but I just thought I'd throw that in.
Right.
Yes, thank you.
And Jameson, the other part of it is they're assuming that you're retiring at 60 or 65. So the earlier you retire,
Mm-hmm.
$31,000 is not enough to retire on, because you still got, what I'm saying? You probably still have to pay tax on that too.
Yep.
So if you were starting out today, Mitch, how would you calculate a freedom number?
The way I would do it is, how much do you need to live on? So you need to do a budget, correct? So I think if you have a mortgage, you got to include it. When you pay it off, that's just more money in your pocket. But I don't think you retire until you have no debt, and that's your personal residence. But if you got to do a budget, what you feel comfortable to live on. There's also another rule out there that you can, once you retire, I mean, Kathy, you're retired, that you can live on 70 to 80% of what your pre-retirement income is. I disagree with that, because I think you're going to be pretty active.
Yeah.
Costs are going up, so you just got to consider, all that. So you might as well just keep it the same. But you got to determine what that number is, and then so if you live on $5,000 a month take home, then you're double that, and that's what you need to buy in scheduled rents.
Okay, so you're calculating 50% of your gross that's coming in is going to be held for expenses, taxes, insurance, maintenance, all of those sorts of things. And then the other 50% is your cash flow.
That's correct.
Okay.
That right now, when you start out, you're paying off your debt.
Yes.
But once you pay that off, that's all coming to you. So I've done my portfolio. I've got 29 properties right now. I've done the numbers, and they're consistently between 61 and 62%. So that's better than 50%. I think 50% is a conservative number, because I don't have to pay management fees. So
right.
But 50% is a good number to shoot for. So.
Okay, I have 30 right now, because then I started buying some residentials as well as the commercial buildings, and I'm not using a management company. I manage my own.
Right.
Because I can, because I'm not punching a time clock anymore.
So Kathy, what's your scheduled rent? Do you mind me asking?
What do you mean? What is the total?
What if everybody paid this month, what would be their rents coming in?
Probably around 21.
21.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're all paid off, which you said most of them are, you should be able to clear $10,000 a month.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and we travel quite a bit, so.
Okay.
Because I can manage them from wherever I am.
There you go.
Yeah, so that's the plan. Cool. Okay, I want to open it up to some questions. We have 11 participants. So let's see who all is here.
Kathy, I definitely want to say, can you guys hear me?
Yes. Yes.
I definitely want to say that I was in real estate school after I finished college and finished my nursing degree, and I got my real estate license, and that was in 2008. And in May of 2008, my birthday in May, which I'm sure Mitch even probably remembers that since we run into each other down at the division, I can say I joined. Mitch is the only other owner that I've ever worked for in my entire real estate career, And I started my career in May of 2008, and Mitch taught me how to do everything that I learned in terms of real estate, writing contracts, selling real estate, what to do during the worst possible time in the entire history of the market. And Mitch was like, and basically Mitch's response to me was I'm like, well, how do I do this? How do I get this listing? How do I do this? He's like, and go get it, go get it, go get it. By the end of 2008, Mitch had awarded me with $1 million award for solutions for real estate. And I had also learned, Mitch's company is incredible. He's a genius, he is. And he's so smart.
Wow.
He is.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And so I can say that all of the people that are on this call right now, and I can't even see who it is, but I already know who it is. Kath, I know who's probably on it, but I can't see you. Everyone here, they aspire to do and be a Mitch, including many of them getting their licenses. Mitch, they want to do exactly what you do. And you're the best leader and the best instructor.
Thank you.
The only reason that's
wow.
great.
Wow. Thank
Miss
you.
ya.
I don't even, why did you leave again?
Because I moved out of state and I went to a major firm. I moved out of state and went to a brand name firm and came back. And I've been back ever since. But guys, I love Mitch. I think he's extraordinary. I think he's a genius. And I learned everything I knew from him.
Hey, everything I learned is from somebody else too. So I decide what I learn. It makes sense. I apply it. I ask others. And thank you again. That's awesome.
Jamie gave you a hand clap and a thumbs up.
I saw that. Thank you, Jamie. I feel that now my role is, now that I'm getting towards the other side of this thing, I truly want to help anybody who's asking, because we're all on this journey together. And if I can help somebody get there, I'm not talking about getting your business. I'm talking about, I can do this stuff all day. We can talk about this stuff all day. I'm happy to talk about it. And if I can help somebody get there faster and tell you everything not to do, call me.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Hively knows.
Yes, Josh is on. So does anyone else have some questions for Mitch? Let's hear your questions.
Hey,
Certainly
Mitch.
his talk has instigated some questions somewhere. Jameson, you have a question?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, you talked a little bit about like the different approaches you've used over time, mentioning like starting out just straight rental income and moving into flipping and BRRRR strategy. Do you feel like there's one strategy that is like the ultimate goal to be using? Or do you feel like it depends on the market and what's going on with real estate and stuff like that?
Yes, 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 and yes. So, Jameson, I got to ask, what do you do for a living?
I manage those 401ks.
All right, so
So
you're retired.
I'm a financial advisor.
Are you really? That's awesome. That's awesome. So, I look at, for the real estate agents here, there's multiple ways to make money in real estate, right? So you got to open yourself up. For myself, it was buy and hold, which in my mind was a 401k issue. And then I might as well get my real estate license. If I'm going to go ahead and buy, I might as well make that 3% for myself. And then I found out that, like Stephanie and Kathy, that, hey, I'm pretty good at finding deals and helping investors. Maybe that's my niche. And then they would start, and you guys know this, hey, do you know a plumber? Can you help me find a tenant or whatever? Well, I might as well make a little bit of that. A painter, electrician. Well, I might as well do property management, so it kind of all rolled into that. But as far as strategy, so little story on how I got into Homevestors. I had a client come to me. I was at a networking event, and he said, yeah, I work for Homevestors, and yeah, I'm a wholesaler and I flip houses. I'm like, oh my gosh, these wholesalers, they're all over the place, and that was just my attitude, shame on me. And he said, I'm looking for a property manager. So he came in, and I'm like, what do you do? And we buy ugly houses. And I'm like, and he goes, you should be doing this. I'm like, why? And he goes, well, you've got everything in place for, find it, fix it, fill it, and all that stuff. And, meanwhile, I got investors calling me, where are they off-market deals, And I said, but call me if you have any deals, because I'd be interested in a deal. And but he was still hitting me up, hey, you should really do this. I'm like, I don't have time. I do not have time. Now I was working on that owner's manual. So I was trying to find my own time and having a great hire like Jamie here. So, so he calls me on a deal and he says, sell it to you for 75, needs 25 grand worth of work. It's worth 130 when it's done. It's $1,300 a month. That's a good deal. If you guys do the numbers in your head quickly, I know Jameson, you're all over that one. So by the time I got there, and I was coaching him on which properties to keep and which areas of town, like we talked about earlier. And I was there within 30 minutes and I showed up and he said, I should keep this property, shouldn't I? I'm like, yes. He goes, I'm going to keep it, but you're still going to do the work. And I said, all right, so how much did you get this property for? And he said 47. I said, what's the name of this company again? And because I was going to make 30. So
you were happy with your number.
Right. So everything kind of timed out perfectly because my wife and I were building the company that we can kind of manage it a little bit, you know, not the day-to-day, come out of it a little bit. But what happened was I looked at it and I said, wait a minute, I can accelerate my debt payoff on my properties. I can get to my freedom number because I want to pay off my stuff faster. Last year, we were able to pay off 5 properties because I started doing the home investor thing. I don't take any money from my properties. I don't take any money from my home investors' money. I roll it right into my debt. So to answer your question, it depends on the property what I do. When it comes in, if it needs a lot of work, I might just flip out of it. Okay. 4-bedroom, 2-bath, over near on the west side, past Hague, in that Holly Hill area. I'm keeping that one because that's a good rental. But some I'll go out if it's in that first-time home buyer 125 to 250 range. I'll keep that one and rehab that one and put that one on the market. So again, I'm going my own formula, and you know I'm still buying. By the way, I haven't reached my top number yet. I'm probably 4 away, and I restrict myself to only buy 1 a year because I'm still paying stuff off. But it's a combination of them, you know, and it's whatever's coming my way. I'm like, that one might be a keeper. And I've got one coming up that I might keep. I'm not sure yet. I haven't been in it yet. But I'm on this pay off debt as fast as I can, build my portfolio, flip this one. So it really comes in differently every deal that comes in.
And I think that's what's confusing to some of the newbies is they're like, what are we supposed to be looking for before we, for another way to say it, to pull the trigger to buy that first one, because they're so afraid of making a mistake. And so they just keep analyzing and analyzing and analyzing.
I will offer anybody in this call, if they want me to go out and look at the deal, write it up, get it in contract. I'll go through the deal and the numbers, and I'll tell you if it's a good one to keep.
Nice. Okay, everybody heard that. Nice.
For free. I'll be happy to do it. Like I said, I love doing this stuff, and if I can help out, I will.
Yeah, that's perfect. And Stephanie and I have been doing a lot of that as well, helping some folks out and actually just looking at the properties and working the numbers with them and actually showing them how to work the numbers.
Sure.
So yeah, that's important. If you're going to buy one to flip, what is the sweet spot? What is this? What's the number? What's flying off in the market faster than anything?
Anything that sells fast so you can make money.
Yeah, but is there a range? Is it the 150, the 250? What's the sweet spot in Central Ohio?
I think it's that 125 to 250. If you think about those homes in there, okay. You know, it's the first time home buyer. You get, I mean, where do you find a house that's done for under 125 unless you're in a high rental type area? So that 125 and above, anything over 250, you're starting to get into different type of buyers. You know, it's some that's had a house before. So you have to get them ready for FHA, obviously, when you're flipping them. But that's where I think the sweet spot is. Josh Hively can actually speak to that too, because he's a home investor guy.
Well, how about when you go to purchase one that you're definitely going to hold to rent? And we try to tell the Happy House Hunter group that a buyer's neighborhood is different than a rental neighborhood. And so sometimes you can't just buy a house and say, well, I'll try to rent it. If I can't, I'll sell it, or I'll try to sell it. And if I can't, I'll rent it. And oftentimes that's two separate types of neighborhoods and two separate values of properties. So what's the sweet spot for the rentals? What, again, I think you said what, a 3-bedroom, 1-bath basement, that would be the perfect. What market is that in Central Ohio, price wise?
You know, I'm going to say it, North Linden. Everybody's there in North Linden looking at stuff. That west side area outside of Hague, I love that area. Another hot area is Blacklick Estates is getting a lot of attention right now. So anywhere in Blacklick Estates, and you go, I don't know if my camera's going the other way, south, you know, down in that area. I like the post-war, so post-1940, World War II, those homes. Obviously, they can be 4-bedroom, but their sweet spot in there is the rents that are $800 to $1,400. You know, you're not in a lower area. You're getting people that are going up, or right now people might be coming down to save some money. We rent that stuff. I mean, like I said, we have 540 rentals. I have 7 available properties right now. They're renting that fast.
See, I agree. That's what I consider my sweet spot as well, as having right about the $800 to $1,400 a month rent, because those are the folks, depending on their background and their income, those are the folks that could just rent forever.
Right.
You know, they're not really ready to buy a $250,000 house, but they want a nice house. They want to live in a nice neighborhood with a nice house where they can have friends over, and they'll just rent forever.
I like, you know, some of the houses the ones that really catch my eye are the ones that you have an owner occupied that's been there and for a long time, and they haven't hacked it up. You know, there's houses out there that people add on and then they add on. You're assuming that they did the construction correct. So what I really like are the houses that, you know, the little old lady from Pasadena, right? She's got this old Mustang and she hasn't touched anything on it. It's the same thing with the house. My last 3 that I'm holding were that way. They were dated, but they were in great shape. I mean, they really took care of it. You know, now we're talking about, you want to put in a new kitchen, that's no problem. You know, it's 1,200 square feet. But those houses are the ones that, you know, I go in and I'm like, I know the bones are solid on those houses.
And that was some pretty good craftsmanship in that era as well.
Yeah.
So structurally, those houses are good.
Yeah. I mean, some of those cabinets out there are still in great shape. I'm just going to paint it, you know, I'll paint
Well,
it.
you see behind me, you're in my kitchen. You see behind me, I've got brand new 1967.
Right. Hey, this is Mid-Century Ranch right here. I'm down in my basement, but
Yep, I get it. Okay, questions from the group. Jameson had a question. Anyone else have a question? Stephanie, did you have a comment or a question?
No, I just glowing reviews and everything you both said. I agree completely. And I think that with what's happened in the last 2 to 6 years, I think that a lot of these neighborhoods, the opportunity is there. They are mixed neighborhoods. You can rent and you can also buy and sell to a family in these up and coming neighborhoods that are Franklinton, which was known as the Bottoms, and the Hilltop area, and the areas Mitch mentioned as well, and in so many of the areas, Southern Orchards around Children's Hospital. The price ranges are all over the place. You can get something easily in any of those. You can still buy property for $30,000 and $40,000 on the Hilltop, or about 60 now on the Hilltop, but you can also buy property on the Hilltop at 149 that's
Mhm.
done. So the profit margin is so huge. And then Blacklick Estates, I've been a fan of Blacklick Estates forever myself. My cousins grew up around there. That is, it's an endless supply of that year of ranches around the 60s, 70s, 80s ranches that, and 2 stories. I think that the number one thing I can say is, if you can't sell a home, you can rent it. And if you can't rent a home, you can sell it. And if there's a profit to be made, it can be made. But you have to have the right direction, and you have to not be afraid to ask questions. And the most important thing of the whole call, Kath, seriously, Mitch's offer to review a contract and the profitability, and to go there, that's
Yeah,
golden.
that's
Mitch,
huge.
that's so generous. That's so generous. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. That's
Do it.
huge.
Happy to do it.
Any other questions? Come on, Chris, I know you got to have a question in there somewhere.
Well, I
No.
don't think I have a question anywhere. I'm just pleased with all the things he said, because we've been working with Steph, as you know, and I just closed on a house in Hilltop.
Awesome.
Yeah,
So-
congratulations, by the way. Yes,
Yeah.
that's huge.
Yeah,
That's
thank you,
started.
Steph.
It's
Yeah.
addicting, by the way, Chris. You're going to find out. It's once you go to your first closing, you're like, well, that was easy. Let's go get some more.
I bet he's already looking, knowing Chris.
Maybe. I got
Maybe.
those automated emails coming in. You know, I still analyze them.
Hey, I know this isn't exactly the group for this question, but let's say you have someone who doesn't want to do all this work. So your story, Mitch, sounds like a lot of people I know, and it just makes sense. You get into one thing, and even my own business has been built the same way. I got into one thing. I was like, well, it just makes sense to expand here. Now I'll expand to this, systems and processes and all that stuff. So let's say you already, maybe you just don't want to get into it, or maybe you own a business, so you're not looking to chase another rabbit, so to speak. If I'm working with someone and I want to diversify them into real estate, since you know what I do, I've got real estate funds. The reason I don't like real estate funds is it doesn't give my clients any of the benefits of owning the real estate.
Right.
So
X-wise.
now I have to be careful what I say because of my license and all that stuff. So how can someone get the benefits of real estate or start this process if they're not going to be rolling up their sleeves like some other people, most of the people on this call?
I think, I mean, we got agents here, so I think that an introduction, if they are people that you know, I think it's a lunch that you have with this client and any of these agents that are here. And it's bringing that experience to the table. So it's basically saying, look, and I'm gonna do what I say, because I don't want to steal anything going on with Kathy and Stephanie or anything. But the way I do it is because I have my insurance guy, our accountant. He has reached out to us. I sit down with him and say, what are you trying to do? And I already know what they're trying to do because we've talked about it. They want to diversify. They want to have another stream of income. And I talk to them and say, you know, the first thing that I want to know is, do they have the tolerance for real estate investing? Because it's not easy. You know, I'm 22 years in and finally getting there. And I've had to inform owners that, you know, you don't have the wherewithal, the personality for this business. So it's a conversation I have, and if there's a trust factor that we as real estate agents working with investors that have property, that have done this before, that we can say, this is what we have done, and your client has to feel comfortable enough to say, I want to try one. And that's what I tell my clients. I say, let's try one. You can always get out of it in a year. If you don't like it, that's okay. You tried it. It's just like, you're not going to go pay a franchise and start a Subway where you're working 7 days. You're the first one they call when, you know, Junior can't show up for a Sunday shift. But real estate will allow you to get engaged with it a little bit. And any of these agents here that have worked with investors or they have their own investment property can say, this is what I do, this is what I do. And again, they need to be on this call to educate themselves.
That's great advice. I like the idea that once they get in, if it's just not for them, it's a great opportunity to just get right back out again, because you only need one buyer.
You only need one buyer, yeah. And
Yeah.
you know what? It's a risk, and that's something that I am with. Real estate is a risk. It is not a mutual fund, and you're, hoping that all these other factors drive up the mutual fund. Real estate, there are people involved. There are decisions you can make. I mean, 2 weeks ago, I don't know if you guys had any floods. We had over 24 calls coming in, toilets, sewer backup, everything that goes along with that. That's real. Calling the owner for $6,000, that's real. And my phone call is setting expectations with that owner, and I might even talk them out of it. But that's what I want to know up front.
Good conversation. Anyone else have any questions? Josh, we haven't heard from you. You're hiding behind your name. I don't see your face on this call. Are you there?
Kathy, I have a question for Mitch.
Sure.
Mitch, oftentimes with people new into doing what we're doing, there becomes this huge question of time is money and what percentage dictates success. And what about, I've been known to tell my clients, breaking even on your first try or your second, or maybe your seventh, and you don't make 25% profit or more, for example, or even that, breaking even is not failure. What are your thoughts, Mitch, on the percentage of what you hope to make on each? Do you have a threshold? And what about, do you consider something a failure?
The joke is that, if someone lost money on a real estate deal, the joke is you haven't waited long enough. Over time, the property is getting paid off. You're getting the tax benefit from holding that property. Rent's going up, and over time, you're making money. The deals that I've gotten rid of are the ones with the basements I just can't fix, but I still made money on them when I sold them, and I made money along the way. So I don't know if I answered your question or not, but some deals are easier because you got them and they're done and you don't have any problems. And some of them, I've got an owner right now. He's a newbie. Got one in Whitehall, going great. He's got one over on Rotunda on the east side. It's not going great. And the one on the east side was redone by another investor. And I don't know where the other first one was, but they're having no problems. Second one, they're having problems. It's a tenant it's a Class A tenant in a Class C area. So she's expecting Class A amenities and Class A, response. So, and I'm trying to coach him through it. Hey, it's more on the tenant side and the property versus, your execution on it. So I don't know if I answered your question or not, Stephanie.
I think you did. Kind of the question was, where will you find that profit threshold of this looks like a great deal? I'd really like to flip this. I know you've only been flipping for 3 years. As long as I've known you, it was buy and hold, buy and hold.
Right.
And so in terms of, I guess it would be more of a flipping question that I was asking. When you buy something, do you think, wow, I've got it. I'm going to put 60 days worth of work into it. I bought it for 50. I'm going to put 50 into it. And I'm hoping to sell it for 165 due to real estate fees because I want to make 50.
Right. It's a magic potion, right, Josh Hively? So I run comps, through the MLS. and I got a real solid number of what that thing should sell for. And I have an adjustment right now for the COVID-19 price adjustment. I figured 10% for closing costs because I got to pay the agents.
Me too, 10%.
Right? I got to figure out how much it's going to cost to repair, and I got to figure out what my minimum profit I want to make on that deal. You know, for you to make 20 grand on a $300,000 property, that's risky. You know, to make 20 grand on a $80,000 property, you're doing pretty good. So, because there's risk involved with all that. So, there should be a percentage number in there that you work with. But a lot of times when I go into a deal, you know, when I go meet a seller, within an hour, I'm thinking of who can I sell this to? Because if I can't sell it to someone, then my numbers are going to change. If I think I can get out of this property, it's Linden, it's a 3-1. I met 8 new people here that would jump on this deal for 100 grand. Actually, I have one coming up on Ferris. See your local agent for the listing. But if I know that I have a seller, I might pay a little bit more for that property. Or if I'm going to keep it, I might pay a little bit more for it too.
Because you know, in the long term, you're gonna turn that into cash flow.
Right.
Yeah.
Did I answer your question yet?
Yeah, that's great advice. Especially, you're right. If someone's going to throw down 300 or even 250,000, even 220, you don't want the profit in your pocket to be $20,000 unless it's a 48-hour deal and it's a hard money. You know what I mean? So right. To think about, I spent $100,000. I had it 60 days. I did cosmetics, and 60 days later, I walked away with a cool 20,000. That's certainly more thinkable. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I have a general rule to not be in a project that's more than $50,000. That's just because anything over 50 grand, you're getting into walls and there's something major going on. I'm mainly cosmetics on flips. If it requires anything more than that, I'm finding another investor to take that on. Obviously, I'm going to make a little bit less money, but I can pay for my next month's advertising.
Good advice. Thank you. Good. That's good to know, huh, Kat?
Yes. Yes. Great advice.
Josh,
we see your face now. I'm sorry?
I'm waiting for Josh to weigh in.
Yes, Josh, we're waiting for you to weigh in. We see your face. I see now you've taken your mute off. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Sorry, I've been driving, so I was trying to focus.
Yes, I can see that you're in the car. Welcome. We're glad you're here.
Thank you.
Josh was one of our speakers earlier on in the season, so we're glad he's tuned in today.
Anytime I get the chance to listen to Mitch talk about real estate, I try to tune in.
I understand.
Thank you, Josh.
Michelle, we have you on. Tell the group just a hint about you.
Me, Michelle Cook?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, I own Body Ache Escape Massage Center in Pickerington, and my husband Joe and I are working on our 4th rental.
We've toured a couple of her properties. They're doing a great job.
Yeah, we were just over there delivering supplies.
Okay. Good. Well, we're glad you're with us.
Thank you.
And we've talked to Jameson, we've talked a little bit to Chris and to Josh, and Laura, I see that you're on. We see her name and she's muted. And then Giovanna is hiding behind the word sell. I'm not sure what that means. Giovanna, what does sell mean?
Can you hear me?
I can. Giovanna just did an amazing flip and just, are you in contract yet?
The funny thing is, I don't know why the word sell popped up. So I don't know. I didn't know if that was subliminal, like Giovanna, yes, you're supposed to sell. I don't know what that meant.
Yeah,
But
that
I
means you're
just
going to
assumed,
sell. That means you're going to sell that amazing house.
yes. So we are actually, me and my husband were really excited. I had said a little prayer like, okay, I want to have like 6 showings this week. And it's just been so interesting. So we actually had 3 showings today, 1 yesterday, and then we have another one scheduled for tomorrow. So I'm really hoping that this will be the week that we will be in contract.
Yes, let's cross our fingers. You did a nice job on that one. It looks really good.
Thank you. My thing is, hey, if we can just pay ourselves back, I will be happy.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then,
Well,
and then the next one, I definitely do appreciate all that Mitch has said. You know, I sent in the chat earlier that I like that he said, get rich slow. I like that
yes.
because I know everything takes a process and you're not always going to come across these 25, 30, 40, $1,000 deals. So I do appreciate that.
Cool. Here's one way to put your mind around it is if I could show you how to be a multimillionaire, go out and buy 20 properties, bringing in $20,000 a month. Are you okay waiting 20 years for it to be paid off? And most people say, yeah, because I can guarantee it. Okay? Now, Jameson, I know you're not supposed to, say I can predict the financial future. All I'm saying is, once you get to that $2 million or that $20,000 a month or whatever that number is, all you have to do is wait for that stuff to pay off. So once you get there, you're there. So it is get rich slow. You just got to get to the first part, the acquisition mode, and then you sit on it. You can always buy more, but get to that first number first, and call me in 15 years. I'll buy a drink, and you tell me I'm right there. I'm real close. But it can happen. You just got to wait 20 years.
I don't want to make it, I still think the get rich slow is the right way to think about it. But I know when I started my business, one of my first clients was moving here from out of the country, and he was working a hourly job, making $15 an hour. He was like, 5 years from now, I want to be able to stop working and I've got my real estate and I can do whatever I want. And that was 6 years ago. And last year we got together for a drink, and that's sure enough, that's where he had gone. So I don't know all of his secrets, but I do think having that mindset, I know it can be done. I've seen it many times, as
Right.
all of you have.
You can always accelerate it and pay it off quicker. But you're okay with 20 years, I can help you.
Okay, Giovanna says it sounds good, but what if you're older and you don't have 20 years to wait?
Right.
Will fixing and flipping help accelerate that?
Absolutely. That's why I started flipping 3 years ago. I was on a path. If I just let the mortgage go all the way through, I'd be 70 years old. Now that I started flipping 3 years ago, I should be debt free in about 3 to 4 years.
Okay.
So yes.
And I want to also bring out to the group that flipping doesn't always mean that you have to buy something, take 30 to 60 to 90 days to fix it, and then put it on the market and sell it. You can do a slow flip. I bought some commercial buildings that I actually had a salon in for several years. I let the girls working in the salon pay the mortgage way down. And then when I put everything out on a spreadsheet and looked it over, I realized that 1 or 2 of those buildings I was in the perfect situation to sell those and pay off several of my other buildings. And it actually increased my cash flow by doing that long flip over a 10-year period. So you don't have to flip in 30 days or 60 days or 90 days. I mean, it depends on your project, but you can certainly buy and hold and then sell something down the road to pay off some of those notes.
Right. I mean, you can go take that number, that $20,000 a month number, double that, wait 10 years, sell half of it to pay off the other half.
Yep. Which is what we did. We sold a commercial building and paid off 2 other commercial buildings with the one we sold.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Mitch, thank you so much. I'm so excited that you were with us. Laura, did you have anything to say? Everybody else had a chance to say something. We haven't heard from Laura. I mentioned her earlier and she didn't come on. I just see her name and she's on mute, so I'm not sure if she got called away or if she's listening. But anyway.
Could I ask, I guess not a question, comment, but sum it up
Sure.
to make sure I fully understand it? So basically, given my age, I'm going to be more of the approach slow over time. I don't have to get to that. I don't mind. It sounds like it's easier to build up. I don't know. I want to say build up assets, get to a certain number to get to the 4%. And that's, in theory, would be my freedom number to get to that 4%. And that's when I can start paying off with that 4%.
Actually, you're mixing up 2 different buckets of money. So
Okay.
there's the bucket. Chris, what do you do for a living?
That's a fun question. So I'm a full stack web developer and a Scrum Master at Nationwide. So.
Okay, so that's your day job. And I don't know if you have a 401k, but you should always max out your 401k, put in 50%.
Maxed out.
Okay, so that's one side of it. The other side of it is the real estate, right? And you can, it's a combination, that 4% number, and you can kind of play with it, that whatever you need to live on, and I'm just going to pick a number of $5,000 a month, so $60,000 a year. If you can, to Jameson's scenario, if you have $1 million in your 401k and you're bringing in 30 of that through your 401k, the rest of it has to come through your real estate holdings, right? So in your case, we need to make another $2,000 a month.
Yeah, I guess the perspective I was looking at was, so we have passive income, regardless of where it comes from. It could come from dividends, it could come from the 401k. I actually have the option of a pension at where I work at, maybe Social Security when I retire.
Right.
Wherever it comes from, that needs to be 4% of the entire amount, and that 4% is the amount I'm living off of. Am I missing something here?
Yeah. So they when you read all these articles like FIRE and all that stuff, that's a big FIRE movement and all that stuff. You're trying to build up to a certain number, and then once you get there, you slowly deplete it down. With real estate, you only have to get to right here, because the difference is you're getting in every month. Okay, so you don't have to save as much, or your 401k number doesn't have to be as high if you replace this continual income. Okay,
yeah.
So I think that when you're at your employer, you should still max out on your 401k as much as you can, but you can start building this portfolio, and all of a sudden you'll find out as this is going up, you're like, wait a minute, I got enough income over here that I don't even need to add any more over here, that I can actually live on $5,000 a month if I only have 8 rentals or 10 or whatever the number is. So I think it's, you need to figure out what that number is. I mean, if you want to call me and we can go through this offline, I'll be glad to do that. But we can kind of go through that scenario, and we can pick numbers that you can go through and get to, hey, if you buy 14 properties, you're on pace to make that much money to live on for the rest of your life.
Sure, I'll take you up on that. I'm an over analytical guy, so
hey,
I get into the details.
My father is too, so I'll just talk slow. I'm just kidding. I'll get into the detail. I understand. I'll get into the weeds. So
yep. I have to crunch numbers and stuff.
Hey, I just wanted to, I got to run. I got a kid emergency going on outside, but I just want to thank you, Mitch, for coming by and sharing your wisdom. And Kathy, good to see you. Good to
Yes,
see
yes,
everybody.
good to see you, Jameson.
Hey,
Hopefully
Thank
see
you,
Jameson.
Jameson. Thank you.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah, you bet, guys.
Jameson.
Yeah.
Real quick, I'm pretty sure I grew up with your wife, Crystal.
No way.
Yeah,
She
I
just
lived
came
like two
downstairs. I'm
houses
also in my
down.
basement.
I was
What's your
best
last name?
friend, Utter, UTTR. I was best friend with her brother.
So I went to Darby. So
I went to Davidson.
yeah, so we probably have a lot of people that we know, but that's a close one. That one's close to home for sure.
Yeah, like 2 houses away.
That's so funny. I'll go tell her
Yeah,
now.
yeah, tell her I said
Yeah,
hi.
I just went to straight Hilliard then. It was just
All right. Hey,
All right.
we don't have to date anyone here, okay? You know. I think I was the first class all 4 years through, and maybe
Okay.
yeah, which we're probably about the same age then. So
I was 07.
okay, yep. All right, guys. Hey, thanks again.
Okay, see you soon.
Take care.
Mitch, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. This has been great. You know, just anytime we can learn, it's perfect.
Yes.
So give a plug for your business before we go. So where can they find you online?
Solutions for Real Estate. Our website is s4re.com. Mitch Deminski at Gmail. You can find me. My brokerage, we've been around since 2001. We specialize working with small investors. We can help you find it, but there's other agents here that can help you find it, but they can bring us the property. We'll help you fix it and fill it. So if you get in contract with Kathy on a property, we'll jump on the tail end of an inspection, and I'll tell you what it's going to take to get it rent ready, not just the remedy problems that they might find. And give you a dollar amount. I have people that text me all the time and say, hey, what do you think about this property? I can give you a rental amount real quick on a text. That's no problem. But we full service property management. We find the tenant, evictions, rehab, the whole 9 yards. We try and be turnkey to people. I would say 50% of our investors are out of state. So we got people from the Philippines, Puerto Rico that we manage for. So, but check us out on our website. You'll see a couple of blogs. They tell me to blog, so I do that. But you get a taste of how we do stuff. And I mean, if you need to, you can come to my office.
I love it. I love it. Well, again, thank you so much, Mitch. We really appreciate you being on. And thanks everyone for tuning in. This is recorded. And so what I will do under kathybinner.com, we have an interactive calendar, and I will put the actual link up there of this recording sometime tomorrow morning. So anyway, if anyone wants to go back and listen to parts of it, and then I will notify the rest of the group that the recording is there as well. So.
Thank you, Kathy. Kind words. And tell Stephanie the check is in the mail.
great. Great.
I love it. All right, folks. Well, we'll see you soon. And for those of you that are in the mastermind, don't forget we have boots on the ground this Friday. We pushed it to 5 o'clock, so it's later in the day, hoping everyone can get there after work. And Stephanie's going to have some great properties for us to look at. So we'll see the mastermind group on Friday. If anyone else is interested in joining that, let me know.
Cool.
Thanks, Kathy.
All right.
Thanks,
See you guys.
Mitch.
Thank you.
Bye.